You know that feeling, right? The phone rings. Again. It's a number you don't recognize, but you know exactly who it is. That pit in your stomach, that feeling of being hunted for a debt, it is just overwhelming. But what if you could make it all stop? Well, you can. So let's dive in and talk about a really powerful tool that can halt the harassment for good.
And look, this is not some abstract problem. This is real life. Just take a look at this post from a Reddit user named JillyGirl79. They're stuck in an absolute nightmare, caught between a medical provider, an insurance company, and now a collection agency. You can just feel the stress coming through the screen, and the stakes, they are incredibly high.
$205,000. Let that sink in. That is the amount we're talking about, an amount that would financially wreck most of us. So you see, this isn't just about some annoying phone calls. This is a life-changing financial battle, and that makes understanding your rights absolutely critical.
So to really get a grip on this, we're going to break it down into 5 key parts. We'll start with the problem itself, then introduce the legal tool you've got in your corner. We'll walk through exactly how to use it, see what happens after you do, and, this is super important, we'll cover the potential downsides you have to know about.
All right, first up, the core problem, the relentless, non-stop pressure. This is what makes people desperate for a solution. And you've got to understand, it's not random. It's a very deliberate campaign of pressure. I mean, the constant calls at all hours, the never-ending stream of letters filling your mailbox, the texts that keep buzzing on your phone. It's all designed to do one thing, wear you down. This isn't just an inconvenience. It can cause serious anxiety and totally disrupt your life.
But here's something you really need to know. A lot of these tactics aren't just aggressive, they are flat-out illegal. There's a federal law called the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, the FDCPA, and it draws some very clear lines. So if a collector is ringing your phone at 7 in the morning, or threatening you with arrest, or cussing you out, they are breaking federal law. Simple as that.
So if what they're doing is illegal, how do you actually fight back? Well, thankfully, you have a really powerful tool you can use. You should think of it as your own personal legal shield. It's called a Cease and Desist Letter. And the idea behind it is so simple, but it's incredibly powerful. It's a formal, written demand that you send to a debt collector, and you're essentially ordering them to stop contacting you, period. This is you, the consumer, drawing a line in the sand.
And just to be clear, this is not you just asking nicely. The power you have to send this letter and make it legally binding, it comes directly from that federal law we just talked about, the FDCPA. That law is the backbone that gives your request some real teeth. Now, here's a super important distinction you have to get. The FDCPA specifically goes after third-party debt collectors, the agencies that are hired to collect a debt or that buy the debt for pennies on the dollar. This means the law usually doesn't apply to the original company you owed, like your hospital or your credit card company. But the second your debt gets sent to a collection agency, you are protected. Okay, so you get the what and the why. Now let's get into the how, because writing and sending this letter the right way is absolutely essential if you want it to work. Getting the process right is everything. You'll state your demand clearly, include all your info, and mention the FDCPA. But listen up, 2 of these steps are completely non-negotiable. First, as you're writing, never admit that you owe the money. Use phrases like the alleged debt. If you admit it, you could restart the clock on how long they have to sue you. Second, you must send this letter using certified mail with a return receipt. That little green slip you get back is your ironclad legal proof that they got your demand.
So, you've written the letter, you've sent it by certified mail, and you have that receipt in your hand. What happens now? Well, this is the part where your shield finally goes up.
The moment that debt collector signs for your letter, the entire game changes. From that point on, they are legally forbidden from contacting you about that debt. The phone calls, the letters, the texts, they have to stop, period. Well, with 3 very, very specific exceptions. Let's look at those exceptions, because they're important. They are allowed to contact you one final time, but only for one of these 3 reasons. They can write to confirm they got your letter, and will stop contacting you. They can notify you of a specific thing they might do, like report it to the credit bureaus, Or, and this is the big one, they can inform you that they are filing a lawsuit. Any other contact after they get your letter is a violation of the FDCPA, and they could be in big trouble.
Okay, so far, this all sounds pretty amazing, right? A legal tool to just stop harassment. But this is a strategic move, and you really have to understand the risks involved. So let's talk about the potential downsides you absolutely need to be aware of.
This right here is the single most important thing to understand about this whole process. Sending this letter does not make the debt disappear. I'll say it again. It does not mean you don't owe the money anymore. All it's designed to do is stop the communication from that one specific collector.
And this brings us right to the central trade-off you're making. The benefit, it's obvious. Peace and quiet. You get breathing room. But the risk is pretty significant. By cutting off all communication, you've basically slammed the door on any chance to negotiate. For the debt collector, with their main tool, the phone, taken away, one of the few options they have left might be to sue you.
And there are other potential curveballs too. The original creditor might list the account as a charge-off on your credit report, which really hurts your score. The collection agency could also just sell your debt to a different agency, who can then legally start calling you all over again, forcing you to send a whole new letter. And of course, you've lost that direct line to maybe call them up and negotiate a settlement for less than what you owe.
So what's the bottom line here? Look, for a small debt, maybe one you don't even think you owe, a cease and desist letter might be the perfect move. But for a huge, messy situation like that $200,000 medical bill we saw earlier, talking to a consumer protection attorney before you do anything is almost always the smartest play. So let's just bring it all together. A cease and desist letter is an incredibly useful tool for shutting down illegal harassment from collectors. It gives you the power to enforce your rights, but you have to see it for what it is. It's a scalpel, not a sledgehammer. It's a strategic move that comes with real consequences, not some magic wand that makes all your financial troubles just disappear.
And that really leaves us with the final and most critical question. You now know what this letter does and what it doesn't do. You understand the benefits, and you understand the very real risks. It can buy you silence, but it can't fix the underlying debt. So, knowing all that, is it the right move for your situation?